Hi, welcome to this edition of A Vision for Las Cruces. My name is Pam Wolf. I'm going to be your host today, and I have with me candidate for mayor, Mike Tellez. My name may sound familiar to you. You've heard me do some interviews in the past, I suspect, but it was always on radio. Today, you get to see the face that was made for radio. Mike Tellez is another familiar name in the Las Cruces community, a business owner, an entrepreneur, a community activist and leader, and the founder of the Dream Center. Welcome today, Mike.
Thank you, Pam. My name is Mike Tellez, and we're going to talk a little bit tonight about a vision for Las Cruces. We'll start with the Dream Center.
Let's do it.
All right. The Dream Center is on 1400 6th Street. It was started in 2002, and it started because there was a need for something for kids to do in the community. And it was inspired by Tommy Barnett, who originally was the founder of the Los Angeles Dream Center. But today, they're exciting days. Today we have a boxing program in there, and we have a 15-year-old girl, Ariana Carrasco, who is in Poland at Olympic trials. Now, this young lady started with her dad 4 years ago, and her dad went in to teach her how to box. She lives right around the corner behind the Dream Center. And I interviewed her dad when he got there, and I said, well, what do you think about training your daughter? He said, it is the hardest job I've ever had. She doesn't listen to me real well, and it's tough. I interviewed him a couple months back, and I said, what do you think? That is my star. He told me about how exciting it was to bring her from not knowing how to box all the way to being the youngest girl in New Mexico history to be invited to the Olympics. So you can't tell I'm proud of her. I call all those my kids. They are that's what I'm proud of. And the mariachis, to see 6 and 7-year-olds playing that beautiful music. They were there for 1 year, and they teach these kids from scratch how to play music. And we open the doors, and one of the deals about the Dream Center is I do not charge these organizations. I say donate to the utilities if you can, but do what you do best. I don't micromanage them. I let the boxing coaches get in and teach them. I let the music teachers get in and teach them. I provide a place for them to fulfill their dream and their visions.
Mike, the Dream Center has impressed me over the years because it seems that nearly all of the programs are geared toward teaching the young people how to be more disciplined in their life and how there are ways that they can succeed in life that they may not have had a vision for themselves in the past. What is it about the Dream Center programs that bring these kids to a new place in their own opinion of themselves?
Well, Pam, when we started this program, we started the food program. We distributed about 50 million pounds of food to this corner of the state of New Mexico. And we were out there distributing foods to families in need. And it got to the point I just kept thinking, why don't I try to find a way to help them turn that problem around rather than just give them a food box? And I said, that's when I decided, you know what, let's do the Dream Center. My friend Jason Brown, who was right by my side when we started it, and I said, Jason, let's teach these kids how to work, how to get out there and break this cycle. And so what we did was we opened the doors, and different organizations who had a dream, a vision on how to teach kids and how to reach them. I had Mr. Crane, the Lions Crane Reading Program. He went in there, and his dream was to teach people how to read. And I said, Mr. Crane, tell us exactly what you need, and we will make it happen. So we designed the room exactly how he wanted it. He got in there, and he fulfilled his dream of teaching kids how to read. What I do more than anything is facilitate people who have a vision to reach out and make a difference in kids' lives. I just give them a place to do it, and I help them. I help them with resources. I help them get what they need to make their dreams come true and reaching these kids.
Your love for young people didn't start with the Dream Center.
No,
you were a business entrepreneur before that.
I IHOP restaurant for about 15, 16 years, and I was one of the largest employers of 14-year-olds in the city. And I got these 14-year-olds in. They were brand new, green behind the ears still. And I said, I'm not going to teach you all how to wash dishes, cook. I'm going to teach you all how to be leaders. And I'm proud to say that my group of kids back from the IHOP days, they're leaders in the industry right now. One of them is area director of operations for the chain that purchased mine. And I have several that are working in the corporate level and several managers out there. So I see my kids managing restaurants. There's nothing that touches me more than that.
So you're kind of involved with changing Las Cruces one life at a time,
That's
aren't you?
exactly right.
That's
Exactly
kind of
right.
fun.
I believe it's possible.
But you have a new place in your heart for Las Cruces and a new challenge for Mike Tellez. Tell us what caused you to decide to take the leap and run for mayor.
Pam, after working with kids in the center for so many years, I started seeing the crime statistics. I started seeing some of these kids coming in with problems, drug problems. I saw the crime starting to soar. And I said, I believe it's possible for me to go in there and make a larger difference. And you know what? I'm running for mayor of Las Cruces because I believe that we can make a difference in our city by focusing on the people of Las Cruces over anything else, the citizens of our great community.
This is a community with the greatest bones of any community that I've ever been to.
It is. I love this city. I got here, I've loved it from the beginning. It's a great community. The potential is just amazing. And with a few things we go in there and do, I believe this can be an all-American city.
What is an all-American city, Mike? I've heard you use that phrase.
An all-American city is a city that you have to focus on your community. It's a community that provides good health care, good mental health facilities, and treatment centers for drug abuse or any other kind of addictions. And a community that works on a good education for the kids and works on a good foundation for our kids to grow up in and work in. And working in it requires good paying jobs.
Jobs are a big issue. You hear it every election cycle. Every politician says we've got to have better jobs for our kids. But nobody's come up with the answer yet.
They haven't. And today, most people will hear when a politician says, good jobs. We're going to fix the education system. We're going to fix crime. They talk about what they're going to do based on the issues they see, but I have not seen a plan. We have a plan to address the need for jobs. I spoke to the president of Mavita, the Sea Valley Economic Development, and I said, Mr. Lopez, tell me, I've seen a lot of growth in Santa Teresa. What do we need to do to experience that degree of growth in Las Cruces on our West Mesa? And he told me, he said, Mike, there are several factors involved in inviting industry in here. One of them is you've got to have a city that is friendly towards businesses. You have a rapid permit process. You've got to be able to come in and get your permitting, your licensing in a rapid pace. You cannot wait. They will not wait forever to get a license or get approval to build. He said, number two, you've got to have your crime has to be under control. I spoke to the chief of police at depth for an hour. Chief, what do we need to do to get a real grip on what's going on here? What do you need? He said, well, we're short officers, but if we could hire 20 more officers, that would do it. 5 on each shift and 5 detectives. He said, and it would just be a dream to get 7 new cars so that the officers could have dependable transportation.
For a city the size of Las Cruces, that doesn't seem like a big request.
My goodness, we have spent that much repaving brand new streets. We could have already covered the budget for the police department.
That is such a small ask.
It is. And I told Chief, that is nothing.
What is the root? What is the cause of the crime rate? You talked about the crime rate being so much higher in
You
Las
know, Pam,
Cruces.
to be exact, our index is 8. Now, the index, they base it, it goes up to 100. 100 being the safest city to live in. We rank 8.
100 is the safest.
100 is the safest,
8?
and we're 8, and that's according to neighborhoodscout.com.
Wow. What kind of crimes do we have in Las Cruces?
We have, violent crimes up over 100%. And you know that upon talking to the chief, opioid addiction, it is plaguing this community. It is starting to level a little bit. Because he said opiates are starting, the demand is starting to weaken a little bit. But he said meth is coming in here and absolutely wiping it out.
What are some of the answers that we might have for turning that around?
Well, you know, Pam, I believe that we need to focus on mental health. We need to focus on the drug addiction. We need to focus on our kids that are having problems kicking a drug habit. And, we need to give our police department the resources they need to get out there and take some of these bad actors off the street. We need to get our kids and have an option for them when they want to quit and change their lives. I talked to the president of La Clinica I said, imagine this, the Three Crosses property, that's the city's. Imagine if we put a full-service mental health and rehab facility right there. What would happen if the city, your organization, and we got the New Mexico State University, which I'm going to talk to the chancellor on Monday, to work together to apply for the grants necessary to build a facility that is paid for so that they are focusing on the problem rather than the overhead.
Mike, where is the closest long-term rehab center to Las Cruces?
There is one in Albuquerque, but it is so hard to get into. Now, if you have money, if you have a lot of money, then you can. There's some in Houston. There's Arizona has them, and different parts of the country have some real good facilities that if you have enough money, it's up $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. I've talked to families who have spent $40,000 on short-term rehab. I'm not talking about short-term. We need long-term.
Wow, that is something that I haven't heard anybody else talking about, and I find it really interesting. I hope we can learn some more about it. But there are so many other things that seem to lead people into a difficult time with the drugs when they're feeling badly about themselves, when they're struggling with life itself. And when they struggle with life, frequently it comes back to a job issue, or it comes back to being able to survive in the community with the income supporting you for the expenses that you have to run into in the city you live in. When we come back after this break, we're going to be talking a little more about some of the specifics that might help change Las Cruces into one of those all-American cities that will be like nothing that we've ever seen before in southern New Mexico. Mike, your vision seems to be one that has the potential of really being able to make a difference, and that's pretty exciting.
I'm excited about it, and I can't wait to talk about it.
Well, thank you for joining us. We're going to be right back. We're going to take a little break, but don't go away. Come back and hear the rest of Mike's ideas about why he's running for mayor and what he'd like to see happen in the city of Las Cruces, what the real vision for Las Cruces can be.
So great, do all these different gears, like land.
Okay.
Nice.
Some of the guys, not all, but
Granite is here. We'll come to you to customize your kitchen and bathroom with beautiful countertops and cabinets. Find out more at horizongranite.com. Call us at 575-650-3180.
Horizon Granite is here.
It's here.
Make yourself a beautiful home.
Hi, I'm Ray Bamberg with Here on Earth. I would like to invite you for a free hearing evaluation to our office. We've been here in southern New Mexico for 34 years helping people hear better.
Hi, welcome back to this edition of A Vision for Las Cruces. I'm Pam Wolf, and I am your host today here with our featured guest of the day, candidate for mayor Mike Tellez. And Mike has been talking to us about what his vision for Las Cruces is. You know, we sometimes forget in a historic perspective how important having a vision is. Back in the day when railroads were brand new, the city of Mesilla was the economic central point of this part of the world. Everybody went to Mesilla, and Las Cruces was just a little nub in the road down the street. But when the railroads came in, Mesilla said, we don't want railroads. Those things are big and loud and noisy. They smell. They're not so good. So we're going to pass on railroads. And Las Cruces said, no, we'd like to have railroads. And it wasn't very long before the central part of economic trade moved from the Mesilla area over to the Las Cruces area. And you can see what's happened since.
Yes.
Las Cruces has grown. So there are a lot of issues that have to have a vision for the future. You can't just look at what is today, but you have to have a vision for what the future is going to be. Mike, tell us a little bit about the economic development that you would like to see in the city of Las Cruces.
You know, going back to talking to Mr. Lopez at Mesilla Valley Economic Development, he mentioned a workforce 3 times. And when he mentioned workforce, that struck me that he talked about IBM once wanting to come here, but we could not provide a workforce. So I said, well, why not? He said, well, they're not anywhere around. So I went to the superintendent, the new superintendent of public schools, and I talked to her, and I said, you know, this is the workforce. Our workforce are in school right now. We need to create a workforce that's worthy of bringing big jobs in. We have a lot of high school students that they have no desire to go to college. But I was thinking, what if we worked with the university in Donana Branch and brought in those trades to where a 9th grader can be assessed and screened, and in 10th grade they can go to the trade school, body work, auto mechanics, electrical, plumbing, whatever it is they have an interest in, welding, and let those kids go in and come out. You know, in high school you can get your associate's degree when you graduate. Mm-hmm. Well, what would happen if the kids that didn't want to go to college could come out as a licensed electrician? In summer, we'd approach the businesses and say, would you adopt these students and let them work in the summer and start getting experience?
I was reading an article just this last week that there are brand new starting electricians that are starting out at 6 figures in their annual salaries. That's pretty amazing. There's a real demand for people who are tradesmen.
Yes, and Pam, you know, we talked about the drug issue a little bit. Well, you know what? If kids have hope, they're less likely to venture into gangs, drugs, alcohol, and deviant behavior. So they need hope.
Well, there are programs that are currently going on in southern New Mexico that the Bridge, I think, is one of them that brings different entities together. But has the city really been a full-blown partner in that concept?
Not enough to make a difference or move the needle. What we need to do is we need to aggressively move on getting these students, giving them the hope they want, working with our university, our community college, to give these kids a chance. Give them hope. Give them a chance to start going. 3 days a week in the trade, 2 days on core subjects. Teach them how to basic math, how to use a checkbook, a little business, English, the core classes. But give them something that they'll look forward to going to school for.
Mike, I think that it's an exciting concept and a wonderful idea to be able to bring people together like that. But Las Cruces has a form of government that is run by a city manager.
Yes, ma'am.
That means the city council makes a lot of the decisions in the things that they pass to be considered rules and regulations for the city. But the mayor really is kind of a figurehead.
Yes.
What is the advantage? What is the purpose or the power of your decision to run for mayor? What do you think you can do?
Well, a mayor, you're right. They don't have much influence. They have authority. They got authority. They are an authoritative figure. While they cannot make anyone do anything, but they can go and negotiate and talk to people and bring together all the different entities. We live in 5 different parts of a city here. We got the university, there's one. We got the Donana, there's another one. We got economic development, there's another one. There's the city council, there's a city manager. It's time for us to go in and bring everybody to the table and said, we are Las Cruces. All of us.
So your concept is to make us a unit.
Unify us, yes. Make us one. One with New Mexico State. This should be Aggie country.
What do you mean?
Well, do you know what? My daughter graduated from the University of Florida. That is Gator country. I mean, there is nowhere you don't see the gator. Well, you know what? We need to make Las Cruces Aggie country. We need to make people proud to be in Aggie country. We need to support our university. And I'm meeting with the chancellor next week. And you know what? I have no authority right now, but the chancellor's willing to sit down and listen to the ideas. With no authority right now, the superintendent was willing to sit down. I have been able to meet with every one of the figures and sit down, and we sit and dream.
Dream. That word comes into your vocabulary on a pretty regular
Yes,
basis,
ma'am.
Mike.
Yes, ma'am.
I listen to you talk and I see a man who has a vision.
Yes,
and that
ma'am.
vision you're able to translate into a solid description so that other people can get a grasp of it.
We have put together a plan, a way that we can make things happen, a way that we can have things for young people to do in our city. They go and party in houses. We quit letting them cruise around. When we were younger, we got to cruise Main Street and hang out on the side of the road. El Paseo. But, we shut that down, and, we never thought, well, where are the kids going to go?
Where are they going to
Where
go?
are they going to hang out? They hang out in houses where there's nothing to do with party, drink, be influenced, and tempted into doing drugs. And we ask, how could they do that? Well, how could we take away something from them and not replace it with something else?
I think that it's very important, the focus that you have on the younger people in
Yes,
Las Cruces.
ma'am.
Frequently people look at Las Cruces as a retirement city.
Yes, ma'am.
And certainly it's a wonderful place for people who want to retire to
Oh,
be able
you
to
bet.
come.
We love
The
them.
weather's wonderful.
Yes.
There's a lot of focus on things for the older people to do. But every single time I talk to you, it is about the young people. You see the tomorrow that we're raising today.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's pretty exciting.
Yes.
We're going to be talking about a lot of different things between now and Election Day. We'll be joining folks and bringing people in to join us to discuss some of the issues in Las Cruces. We'll be working to educate the people who are viewing our half hour with them to help them know and understand some of the things that are going on in this city. If you could say something directly to the voter today, what would your message be?
My message would be, this is our window of opportunity. We need to get out and vote. If you need to be registered to vote, please contact us. We'll have people in your neighborhoods in the next couple of weeks. Don't hesitate to ask them questions. Get If you're not registered to vote, register to vote. Your vote counts more today than ever before. We must show up at the polls.
We must, and it's one of the issues that we have difficulty with in Las Cruces. I just got some statistics about the Go Bond election that we had here, and it was an experiment. It was all done by mail, so people didn't even have to go to the polls. They just had to fill out their ballots. There were 60,135 ballots mailed. 15,271 ballots were returned.
Wow.
15,000. And that was decisions that affected every property owner in the city of Las Cruces because it was about increasing taxes. So we need to be responsible citizens in Las Cruces and
Yes, we do.
take the initiative, get out there and participate in the election process. And we're going to be talking about the new election process in Las Cruces, which is going to require some explanation to folks
Yes, it is.
because it's called ranked choice voting, and it is going to be a very different situation. People will vote not for one person for mayor, but for 10 people for mayor. That's going to be amazing.
Yes, it is.
We're going to have to go for now, but we'll be back next week with Mike Tellez, candidate for mayor. I'm Pam Wolf, and I am looking forward to being back with you. This has been the first edition of A Vision for Las Cruces with our candidate for mayor, Mike Tellez. Tune in for much more information and informative topics next week and every week. Thanks for watching.
I'm Mike Tellez, and I approve this message. Lisa Parrott, Treasurer.